Hey, welcome back to number 14 in the practice worksheet for synthetic division. And our polynomial f of x has coefficients of 1x to the fourth minus 7x cubed plus 9x squared plus 27x, and then a constant of negative 54. So remember, when we're doing synthetic division, we list our coefficients in order from highest exponent term down to the constant. And our divisor, since this is a factor of x minus 3, the divisor is going to be a positive 3, and that corresponds to a 0 on the graph. So I bring down the first term and then multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we're going to add those together. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. Then we're going to multiply. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Add those together. 9 plus negative 12 is a negative 3. Then we're going to multiply. Negative 3 times positive 3 is negative 9. And then 27 plus negative 9 is 18. Then we're going to multiply. 18 times positive 3 is 54. And then add negative 54 plus 54 is 0. And that is the remainder of 0 that tells us that x minus 3 is a factor. So we have a factor of x minus 3. Now this tells us in the instructions, though, that x minus 3 has multiplicity of 3. And so that means I can divide again with that same divisor of 3. And so I bring down the first term. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we add. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Multiply. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Add. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. Then multiply. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Add. 18 plus negative 18 is 0. There's our remainder of 0 that we love. And now we're going to do it again because that had multiplicity of 3, that factor of x minus 3. So using a divisor of 3 one more time, we bring down the first term and multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Add those together. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. And there's our remainder of 0. So we have a quotient. The constant is 2. And the next term is an x. So x plus 2 is also a factor in factored form. So we have an x minus 3 with multiplicity of 3 and a factor of x plus 2. The 0 associated with that factor of x plus 2 is negative 2. So we'll put that negative 2 on the graph. And we have an even degree polynomial with a positive leading coefficient. And the leading coefficient test then tells me that both ends point up. We've got a cross at negative 2. So starting up, I need to decrease through negative 2. Then we have a turning point, and I see the multiplicity on that factor of x minus 3 is odd, greater than 1. And so I know the graph then has to wiggle at that real 0 and then head up to positive infinity. Okay, in number 15, our coefficients are 1x to the fourth, and then notice there is no x cubed term here, so I have to put in a 0 as a placeholder for that x to the third power. Then we have negative 11x squared, and then a negative 18 as the coefficient on the x, and the constant is negative 8. Okay, don't forget, you need that 0 for the missing place value of x cubed. Okay, then our divisor is going to be from this factor of x plus 2. So our 0 is negative 2, and that will be our divisor. So we have a 0. Excuse me, of negative 2 on the graph. We bring down the first term and then multiply. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. add those together. 0 plus -2 is -2, multiply. -2 times -2 is 4. Then we're going to add those together, so -11 plus 4 is a -7, and then multiply. -7 times -2 is +14. Add those together, -18 plus 14 is -4, then multiply. -4 times -2 is +8, and add -8 plus 8 is 0, and that's our remainder. Okay, we have another factor now of x plus 1 with multiplicity of 2. So -1 is going to be a 0 on the graph. Our divisor here is -1, and that's a repeated root, so we'll end up using it twice in our synthetic division. Okay, but we can only do that one time per row, so let's start with this one. Bring down the first term, multiply. 1 times -1 is -1. Add those together. -2 plus -1 is -3. Multiply. -3 times -1 is +3. Add them together. -7 plus 3 is -4. Multiply. -4 times -1 is +4, and add. -4 plus 4 is 0, and that's the remainder. Now, since we had multiplicity of 2 on that factor of x plus 1, we can repeat that root and bring down the first term. 1 times -1 is -1. Add them together. -3 plus -1 is -4. Multiply. -4 times -1 is +4. Add them together. -4 plus 4 is 0. That's the remainder. Then we have our constant and our x, so the quotient is a factor of x minus 4. So our completely factored form, f of x equals, we have x plus 2, that's a linear factor, x plus 1 has multiplicity of 2, and then our quotient, x minus 4, another linear factor. So the 0 corresponding with that linear factor of x minus 4 is +4. Okay, this is an even degree and a positive leading coefficient, so both ends are pointing up with the leading coefficient test, and the graph needs to cross at -2. Then, because we have even multiplicity on the factor of x plus 1, we have a turning point and a bounce at +1, or sorry, at -1. Then another turning point, and we have to cross at +4. So that would be the graph of the polynomial x to the 4th minus 11x squared minus 18x minus 8.